Okay, so it's just been degreased and just been baked in the oven. Now just to make sure that I got everything off there, I put it back in the acetone, and I'm going to give that just about a minute and then rub it off just to make sure that there's no remnants of any oil that was in there or anything else that might mess up the finish before I take it in to do the sandblasting on it. And just pretty much rub it around, and I'm also going to take it off the hook here because that'll make it easier for sandblasting. Okay, so it's off the hook. Gonna redunk it for a couple more seconds just to make sure that everything's off there. Rub it some more, and I'm gonna call that as degreased as I'm gonna be able to get it, pretty much. If there is anything left on there, it's gonna get taken off in the sandblasting phase coming up here. And if you look at it, you can still see kind of right on the edge there where there's just that tiny little defect in the coating. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook up my compressor and my sandblaster, and I'm going to blast this off and get back to sandblasted bare metal ready for the next coating. And I'm not going to film that, so just theater of the mind. Loud compressor, loud sandblaster, and probably about 2 to 5 minutes of blasting to get this perfectly cleaned off and ready for a Cerakoting. And then after that's done, I'm going to hang the part again on the little wire booth there, and then I'll start mixing the coating, and that's where I am going to come back in and show how to mix the coating, right kind of mix there, and everything else. So that's what you're going to see as soon as I'm done blasting this guy. Okay, so I just finished sandblasting this, and now I'm just re-degreasing it to make sure that I got everything off of it and that there's no particulates that are still on there from sandblasting. And what I'm also going to do is, before I hang it, I'm also just going to take a blowgun hooked up to an air compressor with a filter on it. And I'm just going to blow it with clean, compressed, filtered air. And that just makes sure that there's no blast media trapped in any holes or pockets or anything like that that can mess up my finish. Then I'm just going to string it back up. Then I'm just going to hang it. Now I'm going to mix the coating, make sure that the lid's on tight, shake it up for a good amount of time to make sure that it's all mixed together there, because if it's just been sitting after you've done a coating before, or if it's the first time that you're doing a coating, it's going to have kind of a bi-layer look to it. So you want to make sure that it's really well mixed together. I usually shake it for about 2 minutes just to make sure that everything's mixed together there, because there's specific compounds in here that have to be mixed together right so that you can get a good finish out of it. And if it's not, then you're going to still have a good looking finish, but it's not going to be the perfect finish. And if it's something that you're charging for, or even if it's something that you're just using for yourself, you want to make sure that your finish looks good, because that's how you get compliments on the range. If you're a gunsmith who does coatings, that's how you get more coating business. And it just looks better and more professional if you have a good gun that's been refinish well, and if it looks like crap, then it looks like crap. And that's not a good way to kind of get your name out there or look cool on the range or whatever you're doing with it. And so you want to make sure that you mix it really well. And I think that's mixed well enough. And I'm also going to blow out my graduated cylinder with some compressed air just to make sure that nothing got down into that, because this is a shop that's still under construction, so sawdust could have gotten in there and stuff like that, and I don't want to deal with that. So I'm just going to blow this out really quick with some compressed air too, and let that sit for a second. Alright, there we go. So, for the right amount of finish to get a satin finish like I'm going for, it's an 18-part Cerakote to 1-part hardener ratio. And I'm just doing a small piece. I don't need 19 milliliters of Cerakote to do one small piece, and I don't want to waste my Cerakote because this cannot be recycled once you mix it in there. If you have something else to coat along with that, then that would be okay. I was able to coat an entire slide, that grip, and my hammer with the 18:1 ratio of hardener and Cerakote once. So 18 mils can coat a slide, it can coat a grip safety, and it can coat the hammer part of a 1911 hammer, and you'd still have a tiny bit to do a test spray with to make sure that your technique and your sprayer is working properly. So 9 mils of Cerakote Savage Stainless mixed with half a mil of hardener should be plenty for just getting the grip safety done. So I'm going to add the Cerakote now up to the 9 mil mark. Perfect. Might be a little bit closer to 10, but that just gives me a second to practice spray with. Now I'm going to uncork the hardener here. Then just going to add a half a mil of hardener. Perfect. Now the hardener's in there and the Cerakote's in there. I'm just going to give it a quick little swish around there. I'm going to open up my squeeze bottle. I'm going to pour the whole mix right into the squeeze bottle where I can shake this a lot more and not have it fly everywhere. And you want to make sure that you get as much of the Cerakote out of here as you possibly can, because if there's a couple drops left in there, that's a waste of a couple drops that you are paying for when you get this. And should have used the one with the cap on it, but oh well, just switch it off there. Okay, so now the Cerakote's in there. I'm just going to shake it up again for about a minute, minute and a half to make sure that it gets everything well mixed, because you have to have the hardener and the Cerakote itself in there for the heat cure series, which is the H series. For the air series, which is the C series, you don't need to have any hardener with it. It doesn't come with it. So if you're using any Cerakote that has a C there instead of an H, like this one has H150 for the Savage Stainless series, you don't want to mix hardener with that because it doesn't need it. It's air cure. So all you have to do with air cure is just shake the crap out of this bottle until everything has been well mixed. So If I were doing it, I would probably shake it for about 5 full minutes just to make sure that everything's been mixed together, because that's all you have to do with that. So I think I've mixed this pretty well now. Now what I'm going to do, my part's been hung, it's been degreased, it's been sandblasted, everything's been heated out of it, so there's not going to be any issues with the second coating. Well, this is the first coating for this round, but it's the second coating that I'm doing on it because the first one got messed up. You don't have to do more than one coating of Cerakote as long as it's a finish that you like. The reason I'm doing a second one on here and having to go all the way through this again, like I said, was because I messed it up. So you just want to do one coat of even spray, and that's really all that you need to do for Cerakote. There's no multiple coats needed. Dry time is really fast, and you can pretty much get it done same day. So alright, so I've hooked up my spray gun. Alright, I have my spray gun down to 25 psi on my compressor from the 80 psi that I was using for the sandblaster. And I'm just going to add the Cerakote into the hopper. Whoop, wrong one. Would help if I used the right freaking container. Alright, so now when you're spraying, you want to make sure that it's well ventilated. I'm in a shop that has a fan in it, so I'm just going to blast it, and then I'm going to leave it to air out after I'm done, and this is getting cured in the oven. So now I'm going to blast it, but since it's getting close to 10 minutes, I'm just going to make this a separate video of the actual blasting.